What's up, losers? Today I'm back with another r/fatlogic bonanza. Taking a peek at a couple of posts that captured my attention. Sharing my observations and opinions about them. And having a few much-needed chuckles. This is episode 135 in the fatlogic series. And I'm ready to have my world rocked by the undeniable logic of fat acceptance. So without further dilly-dallying, let's get into it.
Answer: to people who work in public health, I want to say, you can't work in public health while hurting fat people. It's really that simple. A dangerous cognitive dissonance arises when people working in public health are confronted with the terrible consequences of their preventive obesity work. They believe they can be good people and work on strengthening public health while being part of a system that kills fat people. That's to people in healthcare. Your education did not make you competent to work with fat people. Your education taught you socially and professionally acceptable ways to hurt fat people. No matter what area you work in, general medicine to physiotherapist and dietitian, your education did not teach you how to treat fat people. This means that you have a lot to learn, and that you have to get that knowledge from experts. The fat people, you have to look at work done by fat people from all perspectives. In all phases of life, you will not only learn to work in a better way, but also gain the necessary knowledge necessary to really help people who come into your care.
Okay, so, I don't know if this makes me uncultured, but I have no idea what language the first half of this post is in. And obviously I don't understand it. So sorry about that. If someone can enlighten me, please do. But at any rate, I found the English part pretty interesting in its own right, so I thought it was worth responding to. The first thing I want to say on the post is that I actually do agree that there should be a place at the table for fat people in discussions around how their medical treatment should be conducted. Obviously, fat people bring a unique set of needs and a unique set of challenges for the medical system to engage with, and I think it's worthwhile to hear fat perspectives on what can be done to make things easier or more comfortable for them. With that being said, though, I don't like the way this post is attempting to position fat people above medical professionals, dismiss these professionals' expertise, and unilaterally lord over the whole treatment process. Fat people should be given a voice. Sure, but that's because they are an important stakeholder, and because their experience of the medical system should be important to us. It's not because they are actually experts in treating obesity, or treating whatever medical problems they might encounter. In fact, the whole reason that we have doctors is because just experiencing one's own life does not give one the necessary tools to make wise and informed decisions relating to their health. Doctors and other medical specialists train specifically so that they can provide their expertise to help with this. And I think that calls for a little appreciation and humility on the part of the patient, not smug superiority. Furthermore, what is this post even on about? With its talk of the public health system killing fat people with obesity prevention, like, I'm genuinely confused as to what they are suggesting. Do they think that preventing someone from becoming obese is killing the fat person they could have been? Or something wacky like that? Because obviously that doesn't make any sense. But I really can't see where else they could have been going with that. Whatever it is that they were trying to say, all I'll respond with is, it's not the health system that's killing obese people, it's obesity. And posts like this, that downplay, or outright deny, the health risks of obesity, are only making this problem worse. So if you're really concerned about fat lives, it might be a good idea to shut up and listen to the actual experts. Just a thought.
205 pounds is 92.986 kilograms. For 13 years old, this father needs to be charged on overfeeding the child, exposing her to health risks. And still not satisfied, he want to expose her on more risks by insisting on water slide ride, regardless of the safety hazard. He then humiliates her worse by plastering this nonsense all over the media. Careless man feeling so entitlement.
Some people just hold weight. That doesn't mean he's overfeeding her.
Damn, I swear man, these posts just hit different when there are kids involved. Like, it's sad enough when you see people screwing up their own lives, or leading other adults down a bad path. But seeing parents allow their kids to become obese before they're even old enough to make informed decisions for themselves really is troubling on a whole new level. I can't even imagine how difficult it's going to be for someone like this girl, who has likely never known anything other than obesity, to develop a healthy relationship with food in adulthood. And I fully agree with the first commenter here, that parents who fail their children so badly in this regard are completely deserving of society's harsh judgment. As for the second commenter, well, what planet are they living on? Some people just hold weight. Really, that's your response to a 13-year-old girl weighing more than 200 pounds. She's just holding weight differently, and that's why she's as big as a UFC light heavyweight. Get real, that's not holding weight differently. That's severe, alarming obesity. And at only 13 years old, I hate to imagine how big she's likely to be by the time she enters adulthood. Part of me feels bad for even talking about this, because the person in question is a child, and children shouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff, let alone have their weight become a public talking point. But when I saw the second comment attempting to play things down and normalize 200-pound 13-year-olds, I felt compelled to say something, because no matter what deranged fat activists say, this is not normal, this is not okay, and this child deserves so much better. I don't know what else to say. Stop normalizing childhood obesity. It seems like too obvious a message to have to keep reiterating. But here we are. Sighs. Moving on.
Diet culture celebrates disordered eating. Wow, you look great. Looks like you've lost weight. I admire your discipline for exercise. I wish I had your willpower. I can't stop eating like you can. Tell me about your diet. You're so skinny. You must have the best genetics. You're so thin. Bottom line, I'm urging everyone to let go of the control that diet culture has over society, and allow themselves the freedom of life without body insecurities.
Okay, so, my first reaction to this one was that it was just another collection of tired fat acceptance platitudes. Not worthy of inclusion in a video. But when I took a closer look, I noticed that there's a strange incongruity between the first card of the post and its constituent points, which I figured I might as well draw attention to. So the first card of the post says, diet culture celebrates disordered eating. So you would expect the points to reflect overlaps between so-called diet culture and disordered eating, right? That seems logical, but when we look at the points, the first one is just complimenting someone on their weight loss, which has nothing to do with disordered eating, unless we equate all weight loss to disordered eating by default, which we're not going to do. Next we have complimenting someone on the discipline for exercise, which has even less to do with disordered eating. Then there's complimenting someone on their willpower, which doesn't have anything to do with disordered eating either. And asking for someone's diet, which only relates to disordered eating, if we weirdly assume that all diets are disordered. And finally we have telling someone that they must have good genetics, which not only has nothing to do with disordered eating, but also has nothing to do with dieting, and on the contrary, is exactly the sort of thing you would expect to hear from a fat activist. So really, all this post does, is dump a bunch of random comments related to weight loss or thinness, vaguely label them as diet culture, and bafflingly connect them to disordered eating, without giving any reasons for why this makes any sense at all. And I guess I just found that funny. Like, the idea that anyone would be convinced by this is genuinely laughable to me, and I wanted to share that with all of you. There's no grand takeaway to be had here. It's just a lame and nonsensical post, and sometimes that's all there is to it. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you had a good time reading through these posts with me, and that my commentary wasn't a total waste of your time. What do you think? Are fat people the real experts? Is being 205 pounds at 13 years old evidence of being overfed? Does diet culture celebrate disordered eating? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, or I'll make you listen to a 3-hour lecture on how medicine ought to be practiced by some pompous fat activist. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.